What up?
We'll wait.
Welcome into the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Ladies and gentlemen, before I went on the air today, we've been dealing with COVID-19, and COVID-19 has been something that has shook our country, okay? We can all agree upon that. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. And that light will be brought to us by something that is simple, something that can help the morale of the country, or at least the morale of people that grew up with these games. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. EA Sports has announced that they are bringing back the NCAA football game. Yes, we've had the Madden game, and let's be honest, some of us love the Madden game. I get that. But they announced today they are bringing back the NCAA football game. Now, it's great news, but you're going to have to wait. Why? Because right now it's technically in development. It's not going to be this year. It may be next year. But it is absolutely something to look forward to. I bring you positive news today, ladies and gentlemen. We will have, at some point in the near future, the NCAA football game. I don't know if it's going to have everyone as far as the players with their names in it. That's going to be out there too. I know that. But as you drive around today, you got to think about, you know what? I in probably a year or so, I can play the NCAA game. I mean, that makes me happy. I remember before getting married and everything else, I would wait out at GameStop the night before when they would put it out because I was that drawn into it. And it was really the official kickoff for the college football season, by the way, because you got that game. And then 2 weeks later, Phil Steele's predictions and stuff came out. And then boom, you went from there. It's going to be that same way again, except this time you can probably download it the night before. You don't have to wait out at GameStop in the middle of the night for it. But this is absolutely a huge deal. It's going to be basically not this year, but the following year. But it is coming. So I bring you that this afternoon because, hey, who doesn't like to hear something positive? Alan's upset online. He says, video games, Rob, really? He was probably the guy that I was beating 73-0 the last time I played in 2013. I know by his choice of teams he's used to losing, so there's that. Anyway, if you're excited about that, give us a call. We can talk about that. I mean, it's just, wow, a sigh of relief, by the way. All right, I do have some football stuff that I want to get into today, in addition to some basketball stuff. But I had to start the show with that because you know what? That is positive, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely positive. All right, so, I want to get into this. I'm shocked that I didn't catch this earlier. But a couple days ago, there was a Zoom video leaked of Nick Saban recruiting. Have you heard this? I'm going to play you a clip of it. It's absolutely outstanding. See, there are some people online that are happy about it. Brandon, EA Sports, thank you. He's so excited. Taryn said, it's a glorious day. Thank you, EA Sports. Yeah, they're happy about it. Out to the phones we go, 803-978-1832 if you want to join the show. And good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Good afternoon, Rob. It's Bobby.
Bobby, do you have a PlayStation 5 and can we get together and play?
No, I'm a Neanderthal. I'm locked in the Neolithic age.
Well,
I am not a video games person at all. I have a satellite dish and a 20-year-old Walmart bubble butt television and a laptop.
You're welcome to come to my house and play, sir.
No, thank you.
No, you don't want to come play games with us? Come on.
No, thank you. I'm earning money on the stock market all day. Who needs games? I need to retire.
Well, what else you got for the program today, man?
Okay. I saw on Twitter I do have a Twitter account and a Facebook account, that the Lady Gamecocks, the Hens, are number one in one of the polls. I don't know if it's the coaches or the Associated Press. And also, I won't bore you with hockey today. One story you did bring up yesterday about Eric Gilbert, I saw later last night on Twitter that he might be blocked from going from LSU to the Florida Gators.
I don't know what could possibly block him, but okay, we'll look into that.
Well, it's just, I don't know if Sankey has some kind of common sense that they don't trade players, for those who don't listen to this program, in the NFL and college. And maybe Sankey thinks for the better all, it wouldn't be good if one SEC team would let someone like go, Zamalka, and wind up, even though it's not the West, he's going to the East.
Right.
You know, I mean, I would say I didn't really crack open the article because it was later, and I was watching the Penguins Rangers, and I got a whole other story I'm not going to tell you today about a Rangers player who's no longer with them. And anyway, I was watching the Penguins Rangers, and I was watching a basketball. Miami won. Oh, great! They beat Duke last night. Unbelievable, losing record, but they beat Duke. But anyway. I didn't open up the article. I'm probably going to look into it more. Also, Niles Pinckney did go to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You named two, and I didn't come back on yesterday and double dip. Right. But Niles Pinckney's a Gopher, and the other player you mentioned, I'd have to look it up.
It's Jordan Williams, and he went to Virginia Tech.
Okay, so you did your R&D. Good job, Rob.
I normally have my stuff together, sir.
That's all right. You're a Coast Guarder. I'll forgive you.
Yeah, I am a puddle pirate. I'm proud of that. Hey, thank you.
Anchors away, Rob. Great
you're
show.
Right. Well, you're welcome to come. You're welcome to come play video games. Just so you know.
I'd rather make money on the market. It's invest in silver out there, everybody. It's going up. Invest in silver.
All right, man.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Well, if that is happening, and I don't know if that's happening or not, but if Greg Sankey is trying to lay some wood somewhere, and I've got to look at the article here, and basically saying, oh, you can't transfer in between the conference. You, sir, do not run a plantation. This is not, you can't determine where kids go. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And you know what? The LSU fans, by the way, and there are some of you, don't make me call you out, which I have done on Facebook. There have been some guys on Facebook that I literally have lost my mind with. They're talking about Eric Gilbert this and Eric, he shouldn't be able to do that. Who in the blue hell are you to tell this kid he can't go somewhere and play college football? Are you the 6'5", 249 pounder with, 4.7 speed and 35-inch vertical jump? Are you that guy? Okay. You don't get to determine where he goes. That's insanely stupid. Now, I can get the argument of, well, they can go and they can change the face of a program. I completely get that. But the reality is that if Greg Sankey is getting involved in this, and I've got to look this up because this is interesting. If that's out there, that is an absolute shame. Absolute shame. Anyway, that kind of brought me down from my high of the NCAA game. By the way, full report and the release from EA Sports is up on my blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. Go and check that out. All kinds of great information there that I just don't have a lot of time to get to here every day because they only give me 1 hour. They should give me more hours. I mean, I'm just saying. Shout out to the iHeart programming team. Rob needs another hour. Figure it out. Anyway. With that, I've got a lot of stuff that goes up on the blog page. A lot of it I just can't mention here. That was one of the big things, though, today is that information that's already up. Go and check that out, foxsportsradio1400.com. Also, I've got something that I want to get into today that's really interesting, and it's Nick Saban's. It's sort of like an inside look at Nick Saban's recruiting. And there is a set of people that I guess they weren't happy with these comments from Nick Saban. I'm going to play you. It's about 2 minutes of him talking about the Alabama program. And it's something that I don't have a problem with, but apparently has angered some former players. So I'll play you this clip from Nick Saban, and then we'll go from there.
Won more championships. We won 6 championships in the last 11 years. We've been at the national championship game 8 out of the last 11 years. We've been in the playoffs 9 out of the last 11 years. We got more guys drafted than any school in the country. We had 64 guys playing in the league last year. The next school had 41. So we got way more players playing in the league than anybody else. So, and everybody's going to tell you in recruiting, oh, don't go to Alabama. You can play at our school before you can play there. They got all these good players there. You won't be able to play. You can play at our place earlier. I think that's the worst stuff that people can tell you. First of all, when they tell you that, they're first of all insulting you. Because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if you couldn't play here. Right. Number two, when they say you can play at our place before you can play at Alabama, they're just telling you Alabama's better than them. Yeah. That's number two. All right. Then number three, is if you ask our players on our team, they'll tell you just the opposite. They'll tell you the competition may be better. Mm-hmm. Marlon Humphrey will say, he played corner, first corner taken in the draft when he was a junior. Say, I had to cover Mari Cooper every day. Mari Cooper was the first receiver taken in the draft. Right. Cam Robinson played left tackle here, won the Alpha Trophy. Jonathan Allen played for the Redskins. He was the right end. He won the Gerson. They practiced against each other every day for 3 years. All those guys will tell you that may be better. Right. The competition may be better. The guy I practiced against was better than the guy I played in the game against. So don't listen to that. Mm-hmm. Is what I'm trying to tell you. I know this ain't for everybody. Everybody can't play for the Yankees, man. You gotta want to be good. You gotta want to play with the best. You want to be the best. All right, so.
Yeah, so what do you get from that? Here's what I get from that. I'm Nick Saban. I'm the king of college football. And guess what? If you want to be on a team that is the king of college football, then quite possibly you should come here. Look, I'm no Alabama fan. I get irritated with Alabama for the way scheduling and stuff like that works out, where they don't really schedule anybody. But to say that Alabama's not the king of college football would be dumb. Betting against Nick Saban means you're a broke individual. Okay? So you have Nick Saban out there saying these things, and apparently some players are upset. Cam Robinson, who he was talking about, why was he even recorded? Just things like that. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when you really stop and think about that. And people look at that as, oh, well, this is bad. Look, Nick Saban was probably upset that it got recorded and sent out, but that's part of the time we live in now, where everything is done virtually. I mean, I've been on 2 Zoom calls or Teams calls or whatever it is you want to call them. Calls where we have a picture in front of us and we have people that are trying to give us information. Those are out there. You have to do them, I'm sure. You're probably sitting at your desk right now listening to this program with me on as far as the audio goes, and you're sitting here watching someone trying to feed you whatever the information it is that they have to give to you. Okay? With that, it's just part of life. But I don't get why some people are upset about this. Now, did Nick Saban sound like he was Tony Soprano? And he's talking about, oh, I've got this and we've got that. Yeah. So what? People that are upset by this, I just don't get. And I thought I would throw that information out there to you today and see what you thought about it. Do you approve of the way that Nick Saban is recruiting? Because some people apparently didn't like what he said, even though what he said was absolutely true. He didn't tell the kid any lies. We live in a society now where you can't say anything. I mean, it really is bad. Nothing that Nick Saban said there was bad, but he's being taken to task for it in some spots. Oh, it sounds like it's an underground layer. No, it's an actual program where if you're playing here, you are pretty special because they try to be the top team in the country every year. And if you're not striving to get that, you're probably not going to be there long. RMF Tide says, watching online today, if a Tennessee recruiting conversation was recorded, would just sound like, we can offer you that value meal supersized. You win, sir. Look, I understand college football recruiting is a dirty business, and you've got a lot of stuff that's out there. A lot of this and a lot of that of, oh, we've got this and we've got that. Everything Nick Saban said there was absolutely true. Now, if you're wanting to be in the NFL, wouldn't you like to have the college experience where your practices are probably tougher than the games you're going to play in, which you could say that at Alabama. You could say that at Clemson. You could probably say that at Ohio State too. You could say that at Georgia because they have a very talented roster as well. But when you have stuff like that and you use that, I think that's great. Especially when you're talking to someone where their whole goal is to get to the NFL. Why would you not want to go to Alabama? Why would you not want to go to Clemson? There's a lot of, I think a lot of these voices are from teams that can't stack up with the teams that are at the top of the heap. And I think they just don't like the stuff that was said there because they can't put that out there. What's Tennessee going to say? What's Kentucky going to say? Hey, we're going to try to go 8-4 next year. Yeah, that's what a kid wants to hear. It's not like that. Anyway, I was shocked I didn't have that because I would have put that on the blog page as well. Interesting stuff there. If you want to respond to what Nick Saban said, 803-978-1832. It is a good day in our country. They are going to have the NCAA football game back. Now I have to go and buy a PS5. My son's got a PS4. He plays that. I'm sure when this game comes out, they're going to have a PS5. No, the way I'm going to get this, it's going to be, I'm going to have to tell the wife I'm buying the kid a PS5. And then I'm going to have to play my games late at night when he's in bed. Oh, goodness. Jerome says, if you sign, you get extra sweet and sour sauce for your nuggets. Thank you for that, sir. Alan says, keep Rob to 1 hour. My heart can't take it. No, your intellectual capabilities can't because I spew too much and it's too hard for you to keep up. I get that problem a lot from some folks. Another note from RMF Tide is not Greg Sankey's rule. It was a rule voted on by the conference school presidents some years back. Well, they better change it. If Greg Sankey's going to try to enforce that rule, they better change it. I don't like the idea of what the transfer portal has done, where you end up with holes in your program. But the idea of kids doing their thing and going where they want to go, I'm all about that. Coaches can do that. Remember, I hate to use this as an example. Tracy Rocker left in the middle of the night from here and was gone somewhere else. And then left there and went somewhere else. Why can't kids have the same luxury? Not necessarily a luxury, just have the same capability of everybody else. I think that's important. 803-978-1832. Jonathan says the wife probably just heard. My wife doesn't listen to this show. My wife is, and I say this, she's the smartest woman that I know. Probably the smartest person that I know. Just saying it. All right. She sits around reading books and stuff. I mean, she's an educator. She's trying to make kids smart. I get to come in and talk about Tennessee football, giving extra chicken nuggets and extra chicken nugget sauce. We'll have more for you in just a moment on the rundown. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you want to join us here on the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, I'm looking at the report. Rumor has it in the new game, you'll actually be able to watch South Carolina coaches quit, pack up, and take any job. I wonder if they're going to have a statue of Ronald McDonald. You know, up at Clemson, they've got like a tiger that's pointing to the sky. And down at Williams-Brice, they've got that Gamecock that doesn't have any spurs. Gamecock fans, help me with that. How in the world are you going to have a Gamecock that has no spurs? I don't get that. But I wonder if at Tennessee they're going to have Ronald McDonald standing there holding up a Happy Meal. That would actually be really funny. Jonathan, send me that link via Facebook because I want to talk about that while we're doing this today. I don't see it. I'm trying to figure out where it is. Yes, they should have the Hamburglar. Oh man. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Shout out to the folks sending me this article from about the stuff that Greg Sankey said this morning. Was it this morning or yesterday morning? I don't remember. It's today. Yeah, today's Wednesday, right? I don't know. No, today's Tuesday. I'm losing my brain here. So he was asked on the round table on 94.5 FM in Birmingham, address the issues of transfers. He was not asked about specific transfers at the time. We'll get to that in a moment. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Rob, it's Bobby Casey. I'm going to double dip about the Rick Gilbert, not so fast. It's from Glenn Gillaboo.
Yeah, man.
I'm saying it right.
Yeah, I've
and
got
I
it.
just sent it to you. He's the one who put out the article yesterday. And also looks like Scott Farrell, not formerly of CBS, they both put it out that he's being blocked. So if you want to crack it open on the next thing and read it or bring it up tomorrow, but I just retweeted it to you.
Well, thank you for that, sir. I appreciate your help, buddy.
Yeah. Also, oh, geez, I just forgot what I was going to say. Connor Shaw was made something like a chief of staff today for South Carolina.
Like the head of football operations. So
did you mention that live on the air?
I'm going to have that in just a little bit, man.
Okay, all right. But I thought I'd double dip and show you where I got that article from late last night. I found it. I actually retweeted it to my own page.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thank you. You're welcome again, Rob.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right. As he looks up from the stock market, thanks to Bobby from KC over there. Anyway. Here's what Sankey said. If I'm clear, it's about interconference transfer. There's a very direct rule that says to transfer from school A to school B in the SEC, they serve an academic year resident. They are a set of NCAA oddity exceptions. Then in 2018, our membership created two more, one for graduate transfers and one for individuals on teams that face postseason bans. And people send in waivers. But, one of the questions that should be asked is that what the commissioner is going to do is why haven't they voted to change the rule? So we're inviting people to campus knowing there's a clear rule, and now everyone points and says, well, you need to let people know that rule. Yeah, it's interesting. But I think if I'm Eric Gilbert and I'm on a transfer, I think he should be able to go wherever he wants. The thought of, hey, we're going to not let that happen doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense at all. And you know what? If I'm pretty sure that they had their stuff together down there with Florida. I'd be shocked if he didn't get to suit up this year. Just my opinion. You're welcome to call on that. Do you think that transfers should be able to transfer within conference and not have to worry about it? There's definitely a side of it. I assure you right now, the LSU fans are not happy. I've seen the stuff on the message boards and everything else. They've hung this guy up one side and down the other for leaving. Okay? Which that is completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. If you're an LSU fan, here, let me help you. Make it real simple for you. If you're an LSU fan and you're upset that Eric Gilbert transferred, what you do is you look down the schedule. Oh, guess what? We get to play against him. And then you think, you know what? We're going to go and we're going to win that game, and we're going to show him maybe he should have not gone to Florida. That's the way that you do it. But you wish him well and send him on his way. And you think back to when you were a kid. We're at 18, 19 years old. Be honest with yourself. Were you absolutely perfect? Were you someone that at 19, 18 years old, you made life-changing decisions and made them correctly? Look, I've got a big, huge microphone in front of me here, so I can spew this to everyone that's out there. The reality is, when I was that age, I made mistakes. And I'm a lot older now, and I still make mistakes. But I made a lot of mistakes then. And to be a couch warrior where you're kicked back and you're looking at all this stuff and you're, oh, well, we need him. He's the top-rated tight end ever. Why would he want to transfer from us? To actually put that out there just makes you look kind of small. Just saying. Wish him well, or don't say anything at all. And think about who you got on your team that actually wants to be there. That's the way that it should be. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832 is the number to call if you want to join us here on The Rundown, right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. We're going to talk some basketball when we come back. And got a lot of things to get into with that today. Some interesting comments from Coach Brad Brownell talking about Clemson and their shooting. Tigers and Tar Heels hook up tonight. You know, Clemson's won 2 out of their last 4 with North Carolina. We haven't really had very good Clemson basketball teams here lately, but the Clemson team has won 2 out of their last 4. So that's interesting to say the least. Anyway, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. If you want to respond to the stuff with Eric Gilbert, should players be allowed to transfer within the conference? You know, should a player from Tennessee be able to transfer to South Carolina right off the bat and play? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. We'll take calls on that this afternoon here on The Rundown. If you missed my lead story today we had the NCAA sports game is coming back. I'm jacked about that. You want to call up and talk about that? Some comments. John says, don't give him bulletin board material. Keep your mouth shut and plan on beating them when you play them. Yes, very good. RMF Todd says Sankey accepted some interconference transfers last year. One was Cade Mays from Georgia to Tennessee. Very good, sir. I don't understand what the big deal is about this. I mean, especially on the COVID front. I know that sounds silly, but everybody's transferring. The NCAA people, when they have their meetings or whatever, you shouldn't even have meetings on this. It's a waste of time. Let everybody transfer this season. Everything was just off this year, to be completely honest with you. Let them go where they want to go. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. If you'd like to join us here on The Rundown this afternoon. As I said, we're talking basketball in just a little bit. I've also got a couple of other little things here. An interesting set here with the as far as recruiting goes. Ross Dellinger put this out earlier today. The NCAA is exploring 3 proposals to adjust the policy that limits the team's annual new signees to 25, according to SI Now. Could happen as soon as the next cycle. Under one proposal, a team could replace each player who left for the NFL or the transfer portal. So that's something that is interesting too. If you lose a player, you can replace them with and not affect your number. We'll have to see how that comes about. Something's got to happen, though, with scholarships, because you got guys coming back that you just weren't planning for. It's going to be a disaster come next season, because you're going to have to make a choice. Some guys that are really good, you're probably going to have to tell them, I don't want that to happen. Don't want that to happen. You got to figure out something else. Anyway, we'll take calls on that too at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to call to join us on the rundown. Podcast will be up this afternoon about 5 o'clock. Working on some guests this week. I'm reaching out to USC Sumter coach Tim Medlin, talking a little baseball with him. We'll get into that and a lot more. You're listening to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are funny over there. And by the way, he did slip on that. I almost dumped out of it. Oh, goodness. That was pretty bad, Jonathan. What? I heard that clip and I was like, how did this happen? That's pretty funny. Can you imagine if South Carolina cried every time we lost someone? That's a lot of tears. That's funny, Jerome. I got to read that when I come back on the air. That's hilarious, though, when you really stop and think about it. Welcome back to the rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world in the iHeartRadio app. We were talking about LSU upset that Eric Gilbert has decided to transfer. Jerome says online, can you imagine if South Carolina cried every time we lost someone? That's a lot of tears. Yeah. With the transfer portal, referred to by Coach Dave Clawson from Wake Forest as the transfer toilet, you're going to have a lot of that. You're going to have a whole lot of that. Anyway, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Clemson plays basketball tonight against North Carolina. Generally, when you look at a schedule and you've got Duke and then North Carolina back-to-back, you're looking at the ACC office like, good one. Good one, regardless of what team you are. Yeah, they're trying to hang 10 losses on us or 2 losses on us right there in the middle of the season. Bear in mind, the Clemson's game before that was against Louisville. So you had Louisville, Duke, Clemson. Louisville, Duke, North Carolina back-to-back-to-back. That is pretty tough. And, oh, by the way, before that, You had Florida State. So there's an argument to be made there that Clemson's playing the best teams in the conference. But the reality is this. When you watch a Clemson basketball game, if the score is out of the 50s right now, you look at it from a perspective of there's no way that Clemson will win. It seems like right now they have so many issues when it comes to offensively. And that is somewhat correct. Coach Brownell was asked about that on the Zoom conference the other day. And he was asked about, what they're doing as far as working with the team. And here's what he said.
We're trying to talk to kids and get their headspace in a better place. I think there's a few of them that, if you're waiting for your attitude to be good by making shots, you might be waiting a while. I think you need to get your head in a better place.
What does that say to you? You know what that says to me? I've got some guys on the team that are only happy if they're making shots. I mean, it came right out of his mouth. I didn't say it. He said, you're waiting for your attitude to improve to when shots are going to fall and, quote, get your head right. Huh. Coach Brownell also talked about what he was doing to help improve as far as on the offensive end.
Extra shooting, working on if there's some things that we see within a shot that we need to work on, that all starts. But I think, again, it goes back to meeting with kids and encouraging them and making sure they're taking good shots and understanding that.
You know what? I'm a guy that plays church league basketball. I haven't played in a couple of seasons, but I used to play a lot. And so, I tell you that is my extent as far as being a basketball guy. Now, I've played basketball with some of the great players that have been from around here. My buddy Marcus Saxon actually played for Arkansas, and him and I used to really go after it. And of course, he would beat the snot out of me. But I've been around a lot of guys that talk a lot of basketball and kind of know what they're doing here. So that's kind of the extent of my knowledge. I just pick up things like a sponge. But I think that even the layman term for this, the easy way to look at this is very simple. Clemson is not a team, that you're going to look at and you're going to say, yeah, they're going to beat us offensively. Clemson's teams are built around their defense. And I give you a perfect example of this. The Alabama team that was on top of the SEC, they don't have a conference loss in SEC play. You can make an argument they're the best team in the SEC. Clemson went into Alabama earlier this season, and they held the Tide to, 56 points, but they forced turnovers, and they held them to 3 for 15 shooting. Wrap your head around that for a minute. 3 for 15 shooting from three-point land. Whereas the games since then, in this losing streak that was after COVID-19 hit the team, they've given up 15 three-point shots or more in at least 3 of those games. Now, this North Carolina team coming in tonight, I don't know exactly. I've heard a little bit about them, and they seem to be somewhat better. They are, 6-5 in conference play, something like that. But it's getting to the point now where I thought it was this way last week with Louisville, that Clemson needed to win that game to have any shot of a season. Then they go to Duke and get embarrassed at Duke. A Duke team that was they've only played 11 games this season because of COVID-19 and everything else. But this game tonight with Clemson against North Carolina at home, once again, is the game of the year. If Clemson doesn't win this game, are we talking NIT? Is there even going to be an NIT? I'm just saying. It's a mess right now up there at Clemson. And by the way, the schedule after that, they've got Syracuse at home, Georgia Tech, a team that's already beat them. They have to go to Notre Dame, Pitt, Wake Forest, and Miami, followed by another game with Pitt. So there's that. This game tonight is the biggest game of the season for Clemson. So if you're a big Clemson fan, you might want to watch this tonight, because this could be where Brad Brownell could go out on his white horse. Just saying. there's a lot of mumbling and grumbling that you can see online where people are like, man, what is going on up there? Got an all ACC player in Amir Sims. I don't know, man. Alan online says basketball, or no, sorry. Alan says, does every church league basketball game end in a fist fight? Or is it just me? I don't try to fight. I mean, I have thrown a ball at someone, but that was a guy on my own team. Anyway, Katuza says basketball is for football players that can't tackle. Jerome says, so will Clemson lose out? They could still beat South Carolina. You know, this Gamecock team was, you thought they were going to be really good this year. AJ Lawson, Cousinard, all those guys. And they just haven't really performed as well. I don't know what's going on with that team either. But, you know, the sad part is that we'll have the NCAA tournament next month. And I'll be jacked about it. We'll talk about it here on the program. But it feels different when you go into it and you have a team from our state that's in it. And what I mean by that is you end up with a team like, you know, South Carolina, Clemson. We've been having to watch a lot of Wofford, and Wofford's a good team generally. Furman's a good team this year, if I remember correctly. I think they went into Alabama and almost won there too. But it just feels flat. There's 64 teams, 68 teams they take. And this year, just judging by right now, we may not have a team from the Palmetto State in the conversation. It's a good thing we have college baseball season right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, because basketball looks flat in our state for this year. If you want to comment on that, 803-978-1832. Katuza says, I went to a fist fight and a hockey game broke out. I like the fighting in hockey. It's like they self-correct themselves. I don't have a problem with that. Jerome says he's extremely disappointed with the basketball teams this year. Yeah. Respectfully, the Gamecock women, they're number one in the country now. There's that. Dawn Staley's putting her ladies out there, and they're knocking it out. Brock says if Clemson basketball team beats South Carolina, Clemson fans will run their mouth about how great they are at every sport. If South Carolina beats Clemson, they'll just talk about how Clemson is better at football. Yeah. I mean, what else do you want? Hang around for baseball season. Clemson wins the series. Well, we won 2 national titles. That's what we'll hear from Gamecock fans. Would you expect any difference, sir? I'm just saying. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. This is the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. That's funny, Nate. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeart Radio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us today. The big news earlier, you've got the NCAA football game coming back. Some people already responding online about that. Nate, the depressed Wolverine fan, says, you know what's sad is that Michigan last won against Ohio State. That was 2011. That's 9 years ago. And the NCAA 14 game came out 8 years ago. Okay. Says, no wonder I'm still depressed. Brock says, I don't run my mouth about back-to-back natties. If we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. Okay, well, good for you, sir. Good for you, sir. Katuza says, Clemson fans are still butthurt from that Ohio State game. I think that you're absolutely right about that. No one likes losing like that. Come on, man. Jonathan says, PFF is saying the Bills should sign Richard Sherman. We'll see about that. I don't know how that's going to work out. We do have the Super Bowl this weekend, by the way. We're still on Deshaun Watson watch. Just saying. Everything is, he's going to end up here. He's going to end up there. Apparently, he told someone that he had no interest in going to Denver. Full story for that's up on the blog page at foxsportsradio1400.com. Be sure to check that out. I did put out online that I was going to, let's see here, make sure I've got it. Oh, I tweeted out about the game coming back. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. So I'm calling it now. I'm going to wear out at Clemson Sports, which is, of course, Lawton Swan. I'm also going to kick the crap out of Lowell, the former intern who now does something else with his life. And then I'm going to beat Tyler Crowder in his face when this new game comes out. All of that's going to happen. There are, and lots of people, I also said I was going to give it to K-Mac too. At K-Mac Must Die. He's going to get it. Tyler says I need to bring it. Then Coach Eric Wilson says I will take on all comers and leave them in a steaming pile on the dung heap. Suit up. I mean, you know, Coach Wilson, of course, is the new offensive coordinator out at Hammond. He's not going to have time to play video games with us. If he does, I'll beat him senseless too. I'm one of those guys where I love that game so much. I used to play in like leagues and stuff like that. Yeah, I did all that. But mark it down. I will not lose to Lawton Swan, period. That will not happen on any day. Same thing goes for Lowell, too. I've challenged them on Twitter. Swan, of course, has not responded. I mean, he's too good to respond to us from the Castle Day Swan. But he knows. Trust me. He knows. He knows what'll happen. It's not going to work out well for him. If you want to call and talk about the NCAA game, we'll do that. The Nick Saban thing, if that bothers you, we played those clips earlier. If you missed it, the podcast will be up this afternoon. People upset about that. Brock online says he'll smoke me in NCAA. Stop it, Brock. Stop it. I'm serious. I could probably get a league of guys that play. Really could happen. Some folks ask about if Jackpot, my buddy, could do it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he plays games. Jerome says, think how many hours we got in NCAA football. Yeah, I did spend a lot of time playing, man. Clemson Sports actually just did reply to me on Twitter. Thanks for reaching out there, buddy. Says, I was a top 100 player 3 years running before the series ended. You don't want that smoke. That is from Lowell, the intern, who I will still make my intern. He won't show up to play. That's just the way that it is. Of course, Seth English, of course, they do Losers Talking Winners, that podcast. That's a great podcast on the iHeart Radio Network. Check that out. And Clemson Sports says, I let my play do the talking. Okay. Need to stop all that. Stop all that nonsense. I'm just going to start handing them out. Handing out L's to everybody. I'm dead serious. I may get just a group of guys that we'll have Lowell and Lawton in there. We need people to finish at 0 and 8, whatever it is that we play. That's all going to happen. Get Coach Wilson in there too. Coach Wilson's one of those guys. He'll design his own playbook. He plays we've never seen before. Coach Wilson will be all about that. I can definitely see that. He'll have the best playbook, guaranteed. So people say they want the ultimate, get me as much customization with the new NCAA game, NCAA 14 with some new ideas. I think it's going to be like the Madden game where you can customize everything. Just saying. Jacked up about that. We'll see how that comes out. And by the way, the new law may be passed with the new likeness stuff, and they may be, you may be able to have the actual players' names on the back of the jersey. That could be very interesting. So we'll have to see about that. Brock says before the pandemic, he handed out everyone else at college. Yeah, it's not college, but anyway, jacked up about the new NCAA football game that's coming out. Tomorrow we'll have the wrap up on the Clemson, North Carolina game tonight. Will the Tigers get off the turf? That's the best way that I can describe it. Or will they let North Carolina do to them what Duke did to them? And you have to think about this too. Clemson's a better team at home, and most teams are. Okay? So maybe some home cooking tonight could help out on that front. We'll see. Tomorrow night, South Carolina's back at it. I got to remember who it is they're playing. Don't have my schedule in front of me, but the Gamecocks play tomorrow night. I think is it Auburn? I'm checking to make sure that my stuff's together here. But the South Carolina basketball team, no, they play at Florida tomorrow night at 6:30. So there's that. Not exactly what the Gamecocks wanted after they give up 93 points to Vanderbilt. Then go on the road and they have to play the 22nd ranked Florida squad. Pretty good team that they're going down there to play. But you know what? And maybe I like Frank Martin so much that I always just think that he's going to rally the team. And as the tide turns to February, which is what we're in now, what do you know? You know, things are going to be okay. That's kind of how I feel. I don't feel the same way about Brad Brownell. I feel like they always do well at the beginning of the season. Then towards the end, they absolutely just kind of tank. You know, you felt good about the Sweet 16 team, the team with Gabe DeVoe and all those guys, because they had somebody that could go and get them a bucket. DeVoe could do that. Amir Sims is a guy that he can get you some points, but he's more of a do-it-all kind of guy. He can get you rebounds. He can get you assists. He can get you some points. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. But as far as, hey, we're going to go down and go straight to Amir Sims? I don't know. The key player for me tonight in this game is Nick Honor. It seems like when Nick Honor plays well, Clemson does well. Now, I understand he's 5'9", and, you know, you have those issues where you may have to guard some bigger guards, but he's lightning quick, and he has the capability to shoot the three. And that's something that Clemson needs tonight. They need to make some of those shots. Sounds simple, but it's just, you watch that team and you see the talent there, and you just don't get it. Brock says Frank Martin's head is shinier than the basketball team's future. They've got good players, though. I mean, Seventh Woods hasn't exactly come out like he should, but, you know, you still got A.J. Lawson, who's a projected draft pick. I don't know, man. It's confusing right now on the basketball front because the things that are normally good are not good. And I know that sounds like I'm being silly, but it's true. And I tweeted this out earlier today. The 4 teams who played in the Championship Classic in November, Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, and Kentucky, now have a combined record of 31-28. Yeah. It's not very good on the basketball front. All right, full wrap up on that tomorrow. We'll preview the Florida-South Carolina game tomorrow as well, and whatever else I can come up with here on the rundown. Appreciate you spending some time with me today, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, Frank is injured. Jerome. So he's done for the season. I don't know what's up with that. And we're going to have, if you're going to want to play this game, you got to get a PS5, but it's